the Ranger ban as last.
Respect.
For WE. I will say, however, Abel was playing a champion that is not necessarily the best in the meta right now. It's usually played against a Kai'Sa in lane. However, this was a defensive pick from Abel. I want to see him on something that he can take complete control of the game. Ezreal, again, has been such a prominent AD carry in this particular meta, and it's Abel's bread and butter.
We're just going to get the reversies for the compositions here. But let's go and take a look at the rest of the bans that we saw. The Renekton, and the Kai'Sa, and the Tristana banned by OMG. It also, that Rengar we talked about with the LeBlanc and the Rumble. Right now, the Lucian had been first grabbed from OMG, followed up by the Kennen and Sejuani from last game's OMG composition. But now, the Lilia locked in for Tianzhen and the Cassante for Hery. So we were begging the question, where are the AP junglers? Well, here we go.
Well, he has played 2 games of Lilia. This is his 2 out of 3 games, 1 on Zyra, 2 on Lilia. So that is the more played AP jungler in the hands of Tianzhen as well. However, I'm not gonna lie to you. I get a little bit scared the fact that TroubleInc has already been forfeited by Hery, and Wayward is one of the main carries for Team WE. Now Abel. I'm saying Abel, but I'm actually pretty sure this is going to be FoFo piloting that Zeri in the mid lane versus the Lucian. Zeri has been one of those champions that does pretty well into the Lucian, and early on, especially level 1, you get to press over the wave and sort of pin Lucian underneath the tower. So I wouldn't be surprised if FoFo is the one playing that one out.
Exactly that, and I want to see that pressure be used by Team WE if it is going to come to that. But right now, it is all that bot lane focus. The Ziggs, the Aphelios, the first ones off the table here. We'll see what the second bans are going to be for either team.
Oh, Ashe was a good ban right here. Ezreal is literally the only champion that remains, together with Misfortune, that has been played a lot recently. Things like Misfortune and Leona, actually, in this between these two teams have completely been left untouched for the entire series. And I feel like for Team WE, a Misfortune Leona combo down the bot, that would benefit them so well. They have so much wombo combo power with the cannon towards the tops of the map as well.
Just so funny how much of a shade of OMG's composition we're getting from WE. It is the Ezreal that finally slinks on through the ban phase. And their ADCs will be heavily pinched this game, as we do see 6 bans down towards that bot side. A little bit more flex towards mid lane though, but here is a chance for more engage potential, more safety, and more go buttons for Team WE. It is the Leona locked in for Mark.
So WE is the one that are moving forward this time around. Maybe it's just a right side thing. You just want to press your W key and move forward. The Kennen, the Leona, the Zeri, the Sejuani all jumping in forward. So OMG need to play a little bit more defensive here. They do have the tools to actually play defensive. The Cassante, the Lilia, the Brom, all champions that you kind of love it when other champions basically just diving into you. Also things like the Jhin, very, very good at zoning away any potential threats. You're playing from super far back as well. However, your damage department is going to lack a little bit if that Jhin gets locked in here.
I love Jhin. I'll be the big preacher of Jhin anytime, but you need more damage dealers for sure if you're this composition from OMG. And I think that's what they have decided on themselves, is they're going to get the Varus.
Misfortune is most likely going to get locked in right here. Again, we talked about this earlier on through the ban phase as well. If that Leona or the Misfortune goes through, that is an incredible bot lane duo for Team WE. So much wombo combo. Reminder, Unbreakable right there becomes a little bit of a problem for Misfortune. It's not going to be the case. More zoning tools coming through from Abel with the Jhin. Are you happy now, Mazel?
Honestly, not super happy. I'm not a big fan of Jhin into Varus, but we'll see if he can pilot it. I think the Leona definitely makes that a little bit easier, but the Braum going to be a bit of an issue there. So Team WE, I mean, I like, give me a second. WOMBO Wombo combo. Okay, we're good. We know what Team WE want. On the other side, OMG though, it feels a little bit more mechanic intensive, and a lot of the fights are going to be determined on a lot of positioning for this team.
Yeah, I feel like especially the Cassante, a lot of the weight falls onto Hery's shoulders as well. He did incredibly well with the Kennen in terms of deciding how he wants to play these fights, and right here, I think it lies on his shoulders. Team OMG, they're going to be playing a lot more defensive this time around. Not many go buttons. They pretty much are going to be playing very of a reaction kind of gameplay to what WE is trying to throw their way.
And WE going to have a lot of tools around the objectives. Very contested last game as well. Contested by OMG, that is. as Tianzhen was able to keep really heavy bot side control. And WE going to be kicking themselves for how that early game went. That big TP from Hery making the biggest difference. But now is the time to rinse and refresh and get ready for a game 2 that matters so heavily, as you do not want to go crossing the halfway point of the Rumble stage with a 2-2 record for Team WE. On the other side, OMG, the true test relies, and if they can continue their undefeated streak, we go onwards into game number 2. Love to hear it. We got a little bit of gyos going there, and so far, we actually had Mark move up towards topside just in case there was going to be anything there. We're going to take a look at OMG's level 1 and some of the keystones here. Nothing really out of the sorts here.
Brom always very scary on that level 1. Late invades have pretty much ruined the entire early game, so you want to make sure that you're covering every single entrance to this jungle to spot the Brom as early as possible. If there isn't a late invade coming in from OMG, it's not going to be the case. They're going to play more for lane right here, making sure they're pressed up against that bot side of the map. Now, we did say that OMG are going to be playing a little bit more reactory to that first game that we just watched. However, WE, they do have plenty of tools to play. Oh.
You get the level 1, though, with the Brahms. As soon as you get that concussive blow starting stacked on you, it's going to be a little dicey. But I want to take a look also at the Vision game that had been being played a little bit. Yanxiang was on Vision, so Tianzhen will be able to play around that a little bit. Both junglers starting on top side, so we know that this mid lane, bot lane will be where we're looking.
Oh, and all eyes on mid lane. Look exactly how Hery plays that mid lane matchup. You push through that wave, you pin Lucian underneath the tower, and that's exactly how this is going. Mark with that level 1 connects the E.
Not necessarily the early trade you want, but you do get a decent amount of damage with the Ignite being burned by Mark. There is the exhaust for Ppgod still on the bottom side, and primarily for Wayward later on, but you also got to think about what it has to offer in the 2v2.
And I'd love to see and keep a close eye on Starry right here. Varus, not the kind of champion that you see very much these days. Things like, of course, a lot of AD carries end up going over in the mid lane, but for whichever ones end up being those bots of the map, you see more of like strong stat check kind of champions like the Kai'Sa, Ezreal, Misfortune in the early game. Ones that want to trade blows, of course, taking a hit onto the lethality build for the sort of Varus. We've seen a lot of Varuses go towards the more on-hit build, if you will, and right here, you do have a couple times you got the Sejuani and the Leona you can deal with as the Varus. However, it hasn't been as much of a prominent AD carry as other ones when it comes to on-hit builds. And
we're taking a look at the matchup track record between the Kennen and the Cassante there on your screen, but Wayward definitely having a time of it in the melee versus ranged matchup. And I think it's a much different approach to this top lane than the Renekton can offer on the other side, which we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel a little bit upset that Hery is not taking any of the pain back onto Wayward. Tianzhen.
Actually might have the catch out here. The hail arrow is going to slow them down. Yanxiang is right around the corner there. The Arctic Assault hits on the Ppgod. Now you got the follow-up with the Permafrost on Mark, able to get in there and get so much CC down too. They can take down Tianzhen, but he gets the whip, and that's 2 down. Now Starry able to fight back a little bit. They've already gotten 1 for him now, and he does have the piercing arrow. Is it going to be enough? Can you dodge? It's not enough damage, and that will be early 2-for-1 trades going the way of Team WE.
That looks so weird at the beginning. OMG are just running down onto this lane. You don't necessarily have many tools to pin people down. Reminder, you only have a Brom. You gotta hit the Q, you gotta somehow get an auto attack weaved in there, and then get the passive procced if you want someone stunned. Let's watch this one more time. Ppgod and Starry were already pressuring ahead, and sure, they mark right there. However, Abel is able to put down so much damage, and Yanxiang has already read the play and is already there. They do not have enough damage on the side of OMG to take them down. And what a great start to the series, to this game as well for WE. Grabbing this double kill down the bottom of the map and a bunch of summoners.
40.
Which means now with the Leona plus Jhin combo, you can definitely rinse and repeat. You have so much setup.
Absolutely. And you have the Swifties now for Abel, so be able to punish that much more and not be slowed down by the hail of arrows anymore. 40 health left on the Yanxiang. Going to be a little bit scared after that one early, but you'll take those 2 kills on the Sejuani because now you can be extremely proactive. We will have Dragon on the table now. There is the Grubs coming up in less than a minute, so we got to look at the positioning for both teams as we see Mark go out onto the map.
Yeah, Mark is looking to sit on some vision, potentially spot out Tianzhen as well. Tianzhen an entire level up onto Yanxiang. Of course, this is the nature of the 2 junglers. Sejuani much slower than Lilia in this particular meta. WE are going to use that priority and push through that bolts of the map to take some control into the river, grab the first dragon as well. A much better early game this time around from Team Oh my god, from Team WE. 300 HP left onto this dragon.
Hey, it's all fine. We're just testing the mechanics here. As CallingC's going to be used, speaking of mechanics, by Angel in the mid lane, try to get a little bit of damage onto FoFo, but we also have to start thinking about what the impact of mid lane's going to have now. We've had very even trades, really no ganks to speak of there. And they're going to have to get pretty active once we get Angel out on the map, because he is the one I feel like needs to be a little bit more proactive in it.
Yeah, and having the Lucian early on, you get a little bit more agency in terms of the damage, especially when you build that first item onto the Lucian. The call is going to be purchased by Angel, and unfortunately for Tianzhen, he had gone unspotted toward the bottom of the map. However, he did step onto one of the traps, so they're going to spot them right there. The entirety of OMG, including AD Carry, started moving towards the top side of the map. The Void Grabs, as you mentioned earlier, have been up for quite a while, not touched at all. It is going to rely heavily on that mid lane prior. As you can see, Ppgod is going to try to pretty much shadow Angel, help him push that way forward. Mark's going to join soon as well. I want to see OMG fight together with Starry, because from the previous bot lane skirmish that we watched, Starry was the one that got out with a kill.
Okay, OMG did make a move over towards the Grubs. They were able to take one away, but Team WE representing in full. We're going to move over to try and sneak away the last 2. Angel is moving. They don't have Tianzhen over here. You got to be real careful. Mark finds the engage now. The Unbreakable buys so much time, but is it going to be enough? OMG going to burn Flash away from Ppgod now as well. A couple pings going back for Team WE over towards the Grubs.
A little questionable right there. Only 2 members of OMG just walking into 4 of Team WE. You knew that all of them were in there, so for Ppgod and Angel to just overextend like this, while Tianzhen was actually looking for his level 6, was kind of a big blow. Both flashes burned right there from Angel and Ppgod too. Wayward gonna be chased away by Hery. And as you can see, OMG is just moving back in.
They lost it. Okay, so after all is said and done, musical chairs are completed, and Tianzhen moves back in to get his second grub. And Team WE were only able to steal 1 away after all of that.
And if you were wondering where all our question marks come from when it comes to OMG, like, are you not satisfied? That was a great early game in the previous one. It was very decisive. They just ended. They were all moving together as a unit. They were pulling TPs, perfect team fighting. That's all great and dandy, but that's only when they're on champions that they are very, very comfortable on. Tianzhen on his Rengar, Ppgod on his infamous Rakan as well. These were the picks that when we're talking about spring OMG, with even different players back then, you would see an OMG that would resort a lot to comfort, and that's exactly what it was in game number 1. Right here, a lot of the decision making and how they move around the map is not necessarily as cohesive as we saw in game number 1, and that's because the team comp is completely different, right? You can't just all go in at the same time. You're playing more for peel, you're playing more for self-agency rather than an all-in.
Yeah, literally both these teams kind of swap positions in terms of the strategies their compositions want to employ here. We're also seeing WE be a lot more active out onto the bottom side of the map here as well, so they're going to steal away a little bit more of Tianzhen's jungle there, but we also have to look at what exactly works for OMG in terms of you can peel all day, that's not going to win you fights. And I think that goes back to the conversation of kind of the positioning of a lot of their pieces going to be extremely important.
Yeah, and again, a lot of it is on Hery's shoulders. He needs to pick out the right target, assassinate. We've seen such great performances on the Cassante lately. Even though the champion is not as OP as he used to be, especially season 13, we've seen Sheer had an incredible performance on the champion as well. And you know that you can use it to its utmost potential and assassinate somebody. Someone like Wayward, for example, if you can take him out of the fight, and you don't even have to expend things like the exhaust from Ppgod, use it onto someone like the Zeri, you take a lot of damage away from Team WE. Reminder right here, you're only sort of consistent damage from Team WE is on FoFo, is on that Hery. So if you manage to exhaust him, there's not a bunch of damage coming in from Team WE once Kennen is out.
You gotta be able to weave your way through those cooldowns as well. And a lot of pressure in this series, not only now for WE because they're down 1-0 in a best of 3, but it's also, you have to remember in Group Nirvana, you know, bottom 4 teams are eliminated and we will not see them until 2025. And I think, you know, in case these two teams should be fighting for that upper 4, but especially if OMG continue their domination, this side of the bracket is going to be extremely lopsided.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, Team WE, they're the gatekeepers right now. They're sitting at number 4, right at the cutoff for that bot 4 as well. So you definitely don't want to be starting to picking up any losses right now. Reminder that the victories that WE have so far are again versus teams that are in the bot 4 of the group currently. WE are being tried here by OMG as well. And so far in this second game, they're doing pretty well. The only unfortunate thing is that the first 2 kills did go into the Sejuani. However, this guarantees you that you're going to have a pretty tanky front line in the likes of Yanxiang. And falling behind a little bit into the Lilia in terms of farming is not going to hurt you that much because you've got that little pillar of money that you've created through the kills.
And you'll always have the go button. That's a little bit more potent than Lilia. Has to kind of throw her body in there or hit a big swirl seed. We are getting to those first items, though, and Tianzhen's clear is about to get even faster as the Leandries has been completed there. Love the observers targeting a little bit of the ward, a little bit of the vision game being played by Team WE. But I'm looking to WE to be very active now, and they will end up spotting out Tianzhen on his way.
They're waiting for
but
Tianzhen
they're on
to
a
make
ward.
a play.
No, you're on a ward. No, I'm on a ward.
They know you know that we know that you know.
They know. Do they know, though? Because Lilting Lullaby, the sweet sounds of Tianzhen singing, will put him to sleep. And now maybe asleep at the wheel. Team WE need to recoup. They have that big TP ward. Wayward, he sees the trigger pull, and he's going to pull it. There's the curtain call as well. They need the flank. Wayward is massive here. They're going for the engage. Wayward's got to get in there. Big slicing maelstrom. The lightning crash as well. And you got the double lightning combo, but Angel is taking out Wayward. Now on the other side, though, Tianzhen is in a 1v2, flashing away. He's still alive. Now Hery, we said he had to be big, and he's got those in tofu sharpened like knives. As Wayward steps forward, it's still going to be the grubs secured by Team WE, but it's a tussle. 4 go the way of OMG, and only the 1 goes back the way of WE.
Reminder, there's no go buttons that are easy for the side of OMG. This entire play started by Tianzhen, pulling that ultimate onto a Sejuani and a Leona. You know what they both did? They just instantly disengaged that play. And once this happened, a lot of the big buttons from OMG were already down, trying to chase those 2 tanks. Wayward on your screens as well had a pretty good TP right there to try and create a little bit of chaos in this fight. FoFo was also zoned out, if I'm not wrong, in this fight too, so a great team fight overall from Team WE.
It was all over the place as well, very split, but honestly, a little bit back and forth, a little bit more give in the tank, and OMG have a lot of say in that one. I think, you know, obviously a massive little bit of fighting at the end there by Hery. But I really like the way that Team WE are just willing to kind of pull the trigger together. And I think that has been a big conversation for them.
Now, a lot of the times when we're looking at team compositions and how they unfold, if you look at teams like BLG, JDG, they'll be able to make pretty much everything work in their own terms. They know very well the mins and max of every composition and the ways that they can play through side lanes. However, when we're looking at teams that do not necessarily have their coordination as well put down as the BLGs and the JDGs of the LPL and the top esports, of course, of the LPL, it feels like a lot of them will resort to the easier to execute composition. That's not always a bad thing, because that's how you build and develop through team fighting and decision making and trusting your teammates, which we saw over from Team OMG, from OMG in game number 1 and from Team WE in game number 2. The easier to execute compositions will bring you easier early game skirmishes and objectives.
And that has been the ruling factor, it feels like, so far in this series, and kind of what we expected from these two teams. But let's hopefully get a little bit of information on... oh, we're right back into it. No, looks like nothing too crazy happened as that fight does cool down, though. We look at the results onto the Rift, and especially with a little bit more gold given in the pockets of Team WE, they find themselves about 1,000 gold up now.
Let's have a look at this replay yet again. The curtain's going to be called by Abel towards the tops of the map, and as Wayward is TPing in, you see that Hery takes the blast cone right there, so Wayward doesn't have instantly access in, but he misses Wayward on the way in.
Oh, no.
So as he's trying to defend, he was playing Gatekeeper, but it's like, if you're locked into your spell, Wayward will go just past you, and I feel like Hery, with so much HP right there, could have done so much more to taking Wayward completely out of that equation.
We said how much impact these top laners going to have, and you see a little bit of what happens if one is lapsing. But now we look back into it, a little bit of activity on the Rift as we have first items for everybody here. So the party favors about to get a little bit more explosive.
2 minutes for the next dragon, about 2 minutes for the next dragon as well. A lot of bot lane focus for both of these teams. Hery trying to trade some blows with Wayward towards the tops of the map. But yeah, next objective, 2 minutes, it's going to be this dragon. A lot of vision has gone down from OMG, taking that Scuttle Crab as well. Rift Herald is still waiting towards the top side of the map. As you will see, Angel is going to be pushing that bot lane wave. There is no teleport for the OMG mid laner. If they choose to pull a trigger for a fight towards the top side, they are missing one of their key damage dealers.
Trying to look at the lane states as well as turret plates have fallen. We only had a couple taken by OMG, which I feel like is a rarity in the LPL recently. It feels like we get so many of our turret plates taken down early on. But I do love that we're immediately getting positioning around this top side of the map because both junglers clearing and getting out to it. Tianzhen going to be first and foremost here and already starting it up with the rest of his team right behind him. Team WE not far off.
I would love to see a reply with Hery towards the bottom of the map. He does have the teleport. FoFo does as well. You're going to be giving away a lot of pressure towards the bottom of the map if you're OMG FoFo. Hitting on that bot lane tower.
Oh, curtain calls opened up, but the Rift Herald's already been taken by OMG. The kill's not going to go through just yet, and it finally does. They get one. The fourth shot there, lightning crash from FoFo. He's got a lot of sustained damage here, and OMG need to be careful. They're trying to get over to their turret. Hery was dealing with Wayward, and WE cannot continue the fight. Tianzhen going to be spotted moving down, but they realize he's super fast, and it's WE who consistently are looking for the plays.
Great pick right there from WE, straight into Starry, taking out the Varus. Hery did a fantastic job at blocking Wayward from getting into this fight. I think he got the worst away from OMG as that cannon was charging into this river on a great flank, and a fantastic snipe from Yanxiang, the rookie that we talked about. Finds the 80 carry of OMG. OMG will secure that Rift Herald and get away with the rest of their lives here at least. So they will have something to come out of this fight with.
As a Jhin fan, I am like just all giddy over here. As really impressive stuff from Abel there within that fight. Is very utilitarian focus, but now aggressive focus is the dragon being starting up. A denial of soul point. If WE can take it though, it is a soul point of a cloud soul for them. Wayward on his way. Got the setup here, but the dragon's already getting very low. Rift Herald going to be used as a distraction down towards bot side. Hery was looking to go flank, but there's not enough time. You got to get your bodies in there if you want to try to contest this one. And it looks like it's going to be a standoff by both junglers. The dragon not going to be focused. Hery looks like he wants to go in. The dragon is now the focus, and it's taken by Tianzhen. He has been king of the objectives so far this series. And Wayward forced to dash away there. OMG come away with a denial of Team WE.
Great chain of corruption from Starry as well. Threads the needle between every WE member to hit Wayward right there. Hold on.
He got the re-engage though. Solar Flare, Lightning Crash. He got the team fight that you're looking for Team WE. Now curtain call is going to be opened up. Tianzhen was the focus there. Ppgod all by himself. The Rift Herald Crash does get the outer turret and bot side though. Starry under turret trying to clear out the wave before WE can crash it. And now a TP from bot all the way to top for Angel to try to keep the tempo going.
Yeah, chasing Ppgod through the jungle. WE managed to take him down. The next one on the list would be Angel. Manages to TP out of dodge right there. He was right in the Rift Herald in that bot lane, taking that first tower. And of course, Angel is looking to get a little bit more gold injected into that Lucian Very, very potent AD carry. Lots of damage later on. Now you'll see on your maps, Mark.
Oh, Abel doesn't have a lot of, at least Angel doesn't have a lot of mana. He does have the dash at the end, but Wayward just waiting for him to go between the tower. The dodge, the auto, it's enough. And now you have the re-engage, though, by OMG, who wanted to try to avenge their teammate. Lilting Lullaby there. Tianzhen looking to set him up for his own kills. Does get the one. Listen to the concussive blows on Mark, and now Mark's in a lot of trouble. They're going to give it to Starry as well. So OMG able to strike back after the extension from WE.
A quick collapse right here from OMG to avenge their mid laner going down. However, WE, they've established so much control on that bot of the map, and more importantly, they'll take a mid lane tier 1, which gives so much vision control to any team that manages to take them down. And let's take a stock of where we are, because this is about still 1,000 gold lead for WE, so it's not that huge. Angel TP towards that top lane tower after the bot lane push. Doesn't have a low mana. Wayward sees that, instantly engages onto him. He'll dodge the Q right here, but the auto will be more than enough to take him down. And Wayward plus Mark are way too far forward. You see Starry on your screens as well through that top lane river. He's going to be heading towards the top side, and they do manage to secure themselves 2 kills. Meanwhile, Team WE, they're taking control of both bot and mid lane. Objectives are being traded for kills. Still, I feel like OMG, with not a lot of gold buttons, will take those. They need any injection of gold that they can get right now.
Yeah, and I think from ahead, OMG feel a lot more comfortable, but even from a little deficit, you have to think about the team fights that WE are going to be able to pull off later on. And we see them positioning very, very aggressively across the map in a lot of cases, because Mark and Yanxiang can literally just look for anybody and have a lot of follow-up there. And I think that's been the biggest growth from Game 1 to Game 2, is we're just seeing a lot more togetherness for this Team WE roster. And, you know, the kill percentage definitely speaks to that.
Absolutely. Easier to go all in as well with the composition that they have drafted for themselves. They've got key members sitting at pretty good gold as well. You've got 2 items onto your Jhin, 2 items onto your Hery too. Yanxiang with the most. He's got a 200 gold bounty for himself as well, being ahead in terms of gold in a matchup that he should actually be in a deficit. Lilia being a fast clearing jungler. Starry now under attack. Ppgod to his rescue, jumping in like Superman, raises the door, saves the AD carry.
Stand behind Braum. That's what he says, I think. Something along those lines.
Stand behind Super Braum.
Do we have? I don't think we have a superhero outfit for Braum. We do have like the luchador
so cool,
outfit.
No? He needs a cape.
Oh? So this is how it all started off. So it was actually the flash burn by Starry, as we see, and that's going to be really important to think about in the next fights.
Only has his cleanse available, and now Team WE are establishing a lot of pressure and presence towards that top side of the map. Baron is on the cards for sure, especially when you've got double AD carry. Jhin not known for taking neutral objectives very fast, as he only has 4 bullets at a time.
He's got 4th shot, all right? He's got the crit.
He's got 4, but it's not about quantity, it's about quality here.
Yeah,
you know?
there you go, there you go.
They're very potent. 30 seconds for the next dragon. For both teams, pretty much gold, I would say dead even at this point. And why I'm saying this, even though there's 1,000 gold lead, is that majority of second items have been completed. You see top lane and AD carry role for the side of OMG have completed those items. Hery needs to be clutch in these fights to come for OMG. He has got the 2 items on Cassandra. They're going to be hurting a lot. Essence River also completed by Angel. And I would say that Tianzhen pretty much has a second item as well. I think the most important part of that hourglass is having the stopwatch and also having the extra AP, and he's got both those components in.
Well, we're getting ready for a tussle here as Dragon, a potential soul point for Team WE, is on the table. You got TP coming in behind. That's a deep flank from Wayward. Curtain Call is going to set it up. They actually have the angle here. Look, they're stuck between the walls. The change of corruption got flashed. And that's so massive. That's a 4-man, though, as they actually turn back around onto FoFo. Look at Hery. He is looking like a predator here, and it's not Rengar for OMG. Back and forth, a now 4-man versus 4. But the biggest part is Wayward is gone. No big setup for Team WE, and the Dragon started up by OMG.
And Hery still has that ultimate. He's going to play Guardian for his team. WE, they can actually try to not contest that right here. They can forfeit that neutral objective.
Double TPs.
Sorry, Angel again with a TP top.
They want to make a play on the FoFo. Look, he's been here the whole time. The all-out straight back to the turn. He's like, man, you still had that? as Angel picks it up, and OMG are picking up the pace in their own right.
I love how you see FoFo jumping through the entire wall only for Hery to grab him and pull him back the exact same way. You'll see that he pops the sticker right there. And let's watch this one more time. A great
Look at this flash
by Wayward. Flashes through the R from Bowers as well. Absolutely decimates him. And I have to say, I have to give props to Abel as well. His angles for these curtain calls have been absolutely astonishing to watch as well. But OMG, they lose one carry. They still have that Lucian as an AD carry in their team WE. However, they lose a lot of that control, the area control that Kennen gives you on those fights. And once a lot of your ultimates and your go buttons are down, you cannot re-enter certain areas.
You see some of the fight back that OMG can have. Now the game is extremely dead even here. And it was a center of power for WE to be ahead because of the composition that they have. They can kind of force fights around objectives, but now they don't really have that saving grace. And somebody's got to be a saving grace to Wayward because Angel's just outplaying him. Now Ppgod with the max distance glacial fissure isn't going to hit it. And that means that Wayward is going to survive.
However, Angel burns Flash for this and takes nothing in return. Almost kills Wayward, but almost is never good enough. Abel now in trouble.
Gonna have to flash. That's the only mobility a Jhin has. Does have a little bit of speed on the back end.
Yeah, no more Gale Force for you AD carries. Now you gotta be careful how you position once the flash is down. Abel, no flash on the other side. Starry, no flash. Angel, no flash. Both the AD carries for OMG with no massive summoners available to them. And WE know exactly that their go buttons versus flashless AD carries work really well, establishing a bunch of vision towards the top side. Baron is the objective they're looking forward and to take him down. And again, even though Jhin is not very quick at taking Baron and OMG are not necessarily worried about that Baron going down fast, baiting OMG to walk into that composition that WE have with the Kennen and the Sejuani, everyone diving in, is extremely scary for OMG.
And that's where WE thrive, if they are the ones forcing OMG into it. Now, there's a couple things that go both ways, right? If Tianzhen can find a big lilting lullaby, it's going to make all the difference in those tight-knit situations. But that is kind of the conversation we've had the entire time for OMG. It's going to be about positioning in a lot of these fights, because if you are getting caught, then you're losing a ton of your damage profile. And Team WE's got a consistent threat, it feels like, in a lot of these 5-on-5s. But it is also a situation where WE got thrashed in game number 1. So you want to have a redemption game. You want to have a little bit of a revenge arc in its own best of 3. And I think Abel having a lot of influence here on the Jhin is going to be massive against Starry.
The curtain calls, the angles that he's been taking with them have been absolutely incredible. Finding the backline, always hitting onto the Sejuani or Leona ultimate, whichever one lands. Again, WE, it's so easy for them to just brute force their way into this jungle. They do have pretty beefy bodies with the Sejuani and the Leona to just walk into Fog of War and establish some vision. And there's going to be a lot of dance back and forth onto this Baron. Now, I'm looking at the side lanes every time there's a Baron dance on who's threatening what, because I see a couple of teleports still up and available. You'll have Angel and FoFo's pretty soon, but Hery is already taking charge onto the bots of the map, pressuring in that wave. WE is going to have to respond somehow. Resets are going to come in here, so now OMG has taken their turn into the river to take some control of vision.
And they need to. I mean, if you looked at the toggle with vision, like it was all dark. You've got to get a little bit of vision around there. Even if they don't maybe have the most burny of compositions against the Baron, there's always the threat, because that is the strength we've represented for WE, is that they can force you around those objectives. Now, we're going to be very, very close to third items here for major carries, and that is an important aspect to think about now that we're going to be getting close to another dragon. It's been 2 denials in a row from a soul point of WE, and OMG have put all their eggs in that teamfight basket down there.
And OMG are going to have to use all those control wards in their inventories very carefully. One of the most important parts of WE and their success is Wayward finding the perfect flank. Either splitting up Artified or finding straight up the carries in the backline. So OMG need to be able to help their backs and sweep every ward that is in their territory. Not get flanked by Wayward.
See now, though, if W are going to willingly commit to this, because the vision game is strong with this one for OMG. Already point and center in front of the dragon. The TP coming in. Wayward has a massive angle. Glacial Prison goes wide though. WE starting to scatter a little bit. Starting to fret. Now we get the engage there. Chains of Corruption go in. Wayward buying his time. He hasn't found the engage he wants yet. Onto the dragon though. Yanxiang needs to stay alive. They're going to focus on him. Lightning crash from FoFo is big. Wayward goes over to the Slicing Maelstrom. They've got the damage. They've got the kills. They now know OMG. They can't do it. They can't stick it. OMG haven't even lost one. And now they finally lose a couple. But Abel, the only one left, is all she wrote. 4,500 plus damage for Tianzhen, and straight to the Baron for OMG. They've turned this table straight on its head.
And we mentioned how Hery had to be the hero, how this Cassante plays the fight. He gets out with almost the most damage done in this fight and a triple kill. OMG having still remaining a tank, a jungler, and AD carry are gonna take the Baron. Let's watch this one more time. As Wayward has an incredible positioning towards the bottom of but Hery is just pretty much zoning the entire WE team right here. And as Wayward comes in, you see that Angel instantly on the AW's team right here, zoning away Wayward, but Hery is just an unbreakable wall. Zones one of the carries, turns it straight onto Wayward as well. Ppgod also missed his exhaust onto the cannon, put it onto the Leona support. Didn't matter anyway.
Did not matter anyway, and you're lucky you get a couple kills back there in the end. A really clutch setup from Abel, but that's all they got after that. Another dragon goes the way of OMG, and now they have control of the map. They have an almost 4,000 gold lead and almost 4 items on Angel now.
Great stuff from OMG again. A lot of question marks coming into this series. You're 3-0, yes, but you've only beaten the bottom of the table teams. You came out of a 0-6 group stage in summer placements, and right here, right now, that was your first test versus Team WE. And so far, they've had to back-to-back very decisive games with very different compositions and executions required on these two compositions. Hery, again, a big rock for the team in both of these games that have been played so far. Both of the waves are going to be linked up in mid and bot. Ooh, Angel.
They try to make a play on Angel. They don't find it. Culling going to be used as a return fire, but the biggest factor is that the Glacial Prison is down.
Bit of a back and forth between FoFo and Angel as well. They're going to try to sync up the next wave as well. Of course, the bot lane wave is going to crash first. But the mid lane is where they're looking at. They still have that cannon that's hammering the tower, and it's going to be going down pretty soon. And now you can have sort of two linked waves crashing at the same time. Just the cannon about up on the bottom of the map, and OMG could be taking a trip towards the mid lane. They'll stick around.
Yeah, they actually might end up catching Hery. Is Cassante, though. Not going to fully commit onto that because they're going to try to find a wraparound or a pincer if they do. WE looking a bit antsy here to move out, though. Deadly Flourish not going to connect. That might have been the go button here, but they don't want to let this siege continue. Angel will catch out Wayward on the side. He's been able to body block Wayward a ton of this game. The Rocket Belt also has been used now by Wayward, so he's not going to have the ease of entrance, but OMG will back off.
I love how a lot of the initial tasks for certain people have now become tasks for different ones. We said that how important it was going to be for Hery to potentially grab Wayward and take him out of the fight. It has been Angel's job for majority of the latter stages of this game. Figure out where Wayward's coming from, take him out of the fight, poke him out. This is why Lucian is one of the strongest mid laners right now. Not only is he very strong in the early game, but his ability to be so slippery around all of these fights makes him such a threat to a lot of the side lane flanks that you're expecting from things like the cannon or the TF, for example, that we've been seeing a lot towards the top side of the map. And right now, Angel and Hery have been carrying through those fights very, very heavily, both in about 2,000 gold up to the counterparts.
And TBH, like, if OMG are able to take this one, like, it continues the conversation of how dominant they've been in Group Nirvana. Like, you have to remember, in this group, the bottom 4 are eliminated. They will not be seeded until 2025, and the top 4 go on to a playoff playing against the bottom 2 in Group A and Group Ascend. And it has been an OMG who have taken down those bottom rung teams, but the question was always standing. Your later half of the split is so difficult. But here, not only a dominant game, number 1, from Red side, but the fact that they've been able to pull this one out of a rabbit's hat, it feels like, has been incredible.
Reinventing OMG, now taking control of that bot side river. Next dragon is going to be coming up. It's going to be Soul, for OMG. Hery moving aggressive. That Cassante has been such a strong point for OMG right here, and Hery has been piloting it very well. Wayward already has position. He's already TP'd into the fight. Let's see if he gets spotted this time around.
Seen this before. That control ward on the left side doing so much work, but Dragon has started up. This is Soul for OMG. They want to contest this one. Yanxiang is in the pit. There's the curtain call. Wayward waiting to go over. They see him though. Lilting Lullaby going to be used, but Slicing Master goes in anyways. The double knockup is there, but Wayward's already gone. Look at the damage they're putting down. The Dragon goes over to WE, but what did it cost? And Zenos says everything. Able stepping up, but it does not matter. Trounced once again by his replacement, Starry, with a quadra kill!
And OMG are gonna be solidifying themselves in the #1 spot. Undeniable how much this team has developed from a 0-6 placements to a 4-0, 2-0 their first real challenge in the group.
Tianzhen handled game #1. Starry handling both games so phenomenally. And OMG, they'll set themselves on pace for domination of Group Nirvana. And it's a 2-0 victory over Team WE.
A lot of smiles coming through from OMG, and deservedly so. Ppgod extremely happy with how his Brom game went as well.
Abel, not so much.
The first one to Abel. Hey, you take some, you give some, you know, like you can't always win those. Abel, looking at his previous teammates right there, taking that victory 2-0 over him. And honestly, we spoke about Starry and how they were sharing time at the start of spring, and now he's the clear replacement of Abel in this team, and he just looks so damn strong. And honestly, the biggest question mark was, hey, the first composition was easier to execute. You had all the go buttons for OMG. Tianzhen on one of his comfort picks. Ppgod on one of his comfort picks. What do you look like on different compositions? Now the question